Hey, what's up guys? Rev here. So today is an unexpected crossing of the multiverses. This time we have the RWBY fanbase attacking Moist Critical based on some statements he said about the franchise in a recent stream. Now, his reaction has been criticized for a multitude of reasons by RWBY fans who are accusing him of bad-mouthing the creator who is now deceased. They're accusing him of homophobia in some cases, or at least implying it, and even going as far as to threaten him because of his comments about this franchise. So this is the main post in question saying, hey, at Moist Critical, I really like your content, but this is extremely out of pocket. Monty, the creator of RWBY, had Volume 9 planned out from the start and had his closest friends write this whole story with him. And some of the things you've said here directly shits on him and other people. And of course, this is the clip that we're going to look at in a second. But one thing I want to point out with threads like this is, yes, I still think like 3,600 likes is a lot. I think that's worthy of a lot of attention. But some people would excuse that as like, no big deal. Nobody's seeing this anyways. But this thread has 3.6 million views. This is a new feature on Twitter. It's only been here for a few months. And I've grown to love it because it just goes to show you how much reach some of these threads have in cases like this where they're saying complete nonsense about someone. So here's the clip. Let's give it a quick watch. We're going to separate into about 3 parts.
Crunchyroll, or maybe it's already on Crunchyroll or has been. This show looks fucking awful. Like, the only reason I tuned into it again recently is because of all the homophobic RWBY memes and shit. Had me giggling a bit, so I wanted to check it out to see, like, okay, what is this show about? I don't get it. It actually feels like it is written by a 9-year-old. And the animation is so bad. It's so bad.
So we'll get into the actual criticisms, and he has more to say about RWBY in the remaining parts of the clip. But we're going to focus on the whole reason he is rediscovering RWBY, and that is because of the homophobic memes. Now, in case you haven't seen this was something we covered a few days ago. A clip from their most recent season has gone viral on Twitter and YouTube as well. And basically, if you take this scene out of context, it looks like RWBY is having a homophobic meltdown. And people have been taking it out of context and making green posts and memes that are much like the homophobic dog memes, if you've ever seen those posted on social media. But yes, that is the reason a lot of people are rediscovering RWBY. And it's obviously not the most positive reason, but it kind of goes to show you that probably not in the best state if it's being rediscovered, mainly because of memes people are making out of these out of context clips. But of course, like with that, and because Charlie said that was one of the reasons he rediscovered it, some people are coming out like this user replying to a related thread saying that not liking RWBY is fine, you're allowed that, but calling RWBY's breakdown a little attitude and only looking at it because of homophobic memes, not a good look. And other people have implied that like you must be some kind of a bad person if you're only discovering a series because of these homophobic memes. And it just seems odd to me. Like, these are people who are supporters of Rooster Teeth, which is the owner of this franchise, and they so easily forget all of the allegations that are against Rooster Teeth and have been lodged against them over the past couple of years. Besides some terrible individual actions of former employees of their company, they have been routinely accused of having a homophobic and transphobic work environment where these individuals from their company were called slurs and also paid less based on their perceived gender or sexuality. And yet these people can overlook that and still enjoy RWBY, but get upset when these homophobic memes are getting attention. It just seems like a pretty odd excuse for the franchise, but not people discovering it through the memes. But we're going to go on and see what else Charlie has to say. And this next part is probably the most important.
No, I know Monty created it. I remember when it first came out. And it was cool. Like, Monty's work was always extraordinary. But whatever's become of the show is awful.
So in case it wasn't clear, Monty is the original creator of the RWBY franchise, and after he passed away a few years ago, his team continued to make more content for the franchise. And people have taken Charlie's comments about Monty and the current state of RWBY as some sort of a jab at Monty and his family, and that it is quite literally insulting the dead. Well, even in our original thread, this person is saying that Monty had already worked on and planned on Volume 9, which is currently airing, and it has continued on. So saying these things directly shits on Monty and other people, which is just simply not true. But I think the best example of this is this tweet with almost 1,000 likes somehow, saying not only did he shit on the show and used Monty's name to disrespect his family, at Moist Critical, this is completely effed up and inappropriate. You have no idea what you're talking about, and you are shitting on a dead man's literal family. For what? To seem cool. Do you guys remember what Charlie said about Monty? He said Monty made outstanding work. That is it. That is shitting on Monty. I'm sorry, I don't see that at all. That is a massive leap. And it goes to a criticism a lot of people have for the RWBY fandom, that basically no criticism allowed because Monty has passed away. And they've used his death, ironically, as a shield to say that any sort of criticism is a direct attack on a dead man and it's disrespectful. In this case, Charlie simply stated that he thought Monty made outstanding work and he didn't like the direction it's gone since his passing. Which, yeah, maybe he had the vision of Volume 9 and things like that, but he's still not here to produce it. It's just not the same. So it's obvious, I think, that when the creator of a series passes away, the direction is not going to be perfect and aligning directly with the way that would have originally happened had the creator not passed away. But people have used a literal compliment about Monty to somehow twist it around as an insult to Monty and his family, which is a complete cop-out, like I said, shielding this series from any sort of criticism because the creator has passed away. But let's really think about it. Criticism of RWBY, it is valid. Okay, RWBY has quality issues. And I am of the belief, I don't know if I'm the minority here, but you don't need to watch an entire franchise in order to come out and say that you don't like it. I get that he only saw small portions of RWBY, but you know what? You don't need to completely submerge yourself into a franchise in order to have the opinion that it looks bad. Because honestly, looking at RWBY here in 2023, where the quality of their animation and storytelling has only gotten worse over time, that doesn't absolve you of criticism because the creator has passed away. And honestly, looking at what Charlie's looking at, how could you have any sort of a differing opinion than that? How could you not understand how someone would look at these clips and think, this isn't a very good quality of a show?
X-Arm looking motherfucker. Unironically actual X-Arm animation here if you haven't seen it.
I know you may not care about protecting this village, but you could.
Oh, and this is also the homophobic RWBY memes. She has a little attitude about being the leader.
Are you okay?
No, no, what time is it? No! No!
Oh, Sean.
I couldn't save them. I was supposed to save them, and they're dead.
So what the fuck happened there? What? So this is a town of people that wanted to commit suicide, so they blasted holes into the side of a dam to flood it to kill themselves? Is that real?
I mean, seriously, if we're going to be objective here, this is a show produced in 2023. You can't tell me that is a quality product. And it's a shame, because I feel like if Monty was around, I think things would be different. And I think that's not a crazy thing to say. And that's not disrespecting Monty. It's acknowledging the direction and influence he had at the time. And the way this series has gone, and just even seeing snippets like this, I think you can understand that the product has not evolved over the past bunch of years. And despite all that, despite the fact it does look like an X-Arm production here, people just won't accept criticism. Here's another post saying, "Damn, at Moist Critical, didn't take you as a hero hey enjoyer. Only thing you're missing is a 10-minute video on why RWBY is bad, saying it's bad because you shouldn't watch it, period, and drag Monty's name in the dirt as well and tell Crunchyroll RWBY that they suck. Absolute jackass." So again, we get the point with Monty. People are trying to, again, excuse any criticism because criticism is somehow dragging Monty's name. But Hero Hey getting a mention is funny because this is more of his ballpark and territory. He has a lot more knowledge of RWBY than someone like me. That's definitely more his forte. But you know what? Again, I don't think you need to see a whole season. And guess what? I sat down and watched as much content as I could from this most latest season. And you know what? It's not good. It is not that good. And it really is captured by the various scenes that are going around on Twitter and in Charlie's clips. It is not a quality product. And you don't have to consume all 9 editions to understand that. You don't have to understand the whole, every second of content from that franchise to know that that just doesn't look like a quality product in 2023. And of course, a lot of people in this franchise have been unhinged. You have stuff like this. I don't really have to read this out loud. A Tumblr post telling Charlie to off himself because of his reaction to these various clips. Like, you know what? It's sad because I'm sure there is a great deal of the RWBY fandom that is perfectly fine, normal, happy, nice people, but this very toxic sect of them is making the franchise look absolutely insane. Who would want to engage with this fan base if you're on the outside? Who would want to indoctrinate themselves into this when you have people saying the most unhinged things ever because someone simply doesn't like RWBY? That's all. And it's completely ridiculous. Now, what's interesting is the original poster of the first thread we looked at with the clip attached would go on to make an update saying, so he responded and does make some good points here. Charlie's right that there's nothing wrong with him saying he doesn't like RWBY, and nothing he's seen since the Maya era is totally fine. That's okay. The issue some people were taking with what he said was because he specifically said, what's become of the show when Monty had some direct aspects of planning it from the beginning, trusted his closest friends, and comparing it to X-Arm is honestly just really unnecessary. And again, I don't really see the difference here. Like the character progression in this is about as good as RWBY right now, you know? It's on par. I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. Comparing it to when Monty was involved to post Monty is a valid thing. Just because he had plans for the future and had involvement in the prepping of these things is not the same as actually making it without Monty present. Of course, the product is not going to be the exact same. And I'm sure, again, if Monty was here with us today, I don't think RWBY would be the same. I think it would be a lot better. And I think it's fair to point out that since the creator's death, things aren't the same. And that is completely fair. It is completely fair to compare it to X-Arm. It is an X-Arm clone at this point. But let's listen to what Charlie actually said, because I think a lot of this is being boiled down into points that he really wasn't making.
I followed Monty's work from a very early age. Monty was one of the most impactful animators of, like, the internet age. I've always had an appreciation for his work. Not liking RWBY isn't an insult to Monty or his memory or anything, but can't tell that to them, I guess, because they want to find every possible angle of calling the person who doesn't like the thing they like evil. So they go as far as to just make shit up in their own head about it. But yeah, I'll say it again. I don't like RWBY. I've never seen anything from RWBY that I liked, aside from like the premiere and the very early work when Monty was involved with it before his passing. Those I look back on fondly, but past that, everything I've seen from RWBY I don't like. And there's nothing wrong with me saying that.
Yeah, it's kind of sad he even had to come out here in the first place. He could already sense the rumbling of angry people on Twitter, but this whole thing overall just shows how unreasonable some fan bases can be. And again, it's only a small section. I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not going to just throw a blanket over an entire fan base and say they're all crazy and unhinged. It's obviously a smaller portion, but they're making this franchise look totally unapproachable and unreasonable and just unwilling to listen to any criticism and using the creator's death as some sort of a shield from it. And honestly, it's just kind of disappointing. But I mean, is it any more disappointing than the fact that the only reason RWBY is relevant right now, or at least having a substantial presence on social media, is because of how bad some of the animation is and how the scenes out of context look comedically ridiculous? I don't know. It's just kind of a sad state of what that franchise has become. And, you know, if you enjoy RWBY, you're totally entitled to it, but you're also entitled to not like it. And you should be able to express your opinion and not have to deal with your opinion being muddled down to disrespecting someone who passed away. It's just not a fair thing to do. But that's going to do it for this strange multiverse episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.